try to shorten up my rigging so that I can lift this higher. I need to have enough clearance to get the drill under there. I don't like working kind of under this thing. I'm going to do it quick, and then I'm going to let this thing back down. But it is a 1-ton come along, and the compressor head's about 500 pounds. So hopefully there's a safety factor there, and there won't be any issues. Clearance hole I need really is a 17/32, which I don't have. I have a 9/16, which is a bunch of hole for this little drill, but we'll see how it does. Well, it's cutting, but I think I'm going to fire up the generator and go to the electric drill that I have here. Well, I'm still alive. I'm going to get all 4 of these bolts to drop in, and then just finish lowering it down. Okay, we'll just reset our squareness and lock that down permanently. To a 9/16. 2 9/16. Wow, can that be that easy? I didn't expect to get it dead on the money, but it is dead on the money. Well, I'm going to try to accomplish a few things in the pouring down rain. One is to get this swivel fitting off. Just going to put basically a hose barb with a 1-inch hose down to the tank, and this thing has been on there probably since original. So I'm going to apply a little heat, or a lot of heat, whatever it takes. Got a 24-inch pipe wrench. Oh, boy, that was easy. Looks like someone had like a Teflon type compound on there rather than a hardening compound. We'll turn our attention to the motor slide. I'm going to make a 5/8 draw bolt to be able to tension the motor. And I got to get the inside parts out of this base. Actually, it looks like what we have is this is threaded. It's a 3/4 inch threaded, just a boss welded on here. So, boy, I don't even know if I have a 3/4 inch tap to chase that, but all I need to do is get a 3/4 inch bolt and a washer and tighten it from here, and it just will slide this back and forth. That's a better setup than what I was going to do with an all thread and jam nuts. Well, I found a source for 3/4 inch threaded rod. The question is going to be, will it come out of here? These were 8x8 pressure treated beams that I, about 20 years ago, made a big swing set in a treehouse for my kids. And had it bolted to the it was a maple tree that came up and it forked into three big branches, and so I notched those and bolted these pieces into those branches. So let's see if I can get these out of here. That does not look straight now that I look at it. Maybe I can use the end over here. I'll use the 5/8 rod as a punch. Yeah, it's bent. Wasn't bent when I put it in, so the tree must have bent it. But I have enough of a straight section here, I believe, that I could make it work. So we're looking at the fittings on the tank. Coming off the compressor head, we've got 1.25 inches, and the inlet to the tank is 3/4. Now, man, this is a really nice solid brass integral check valve, and I mean, if I can, you can see that it is all one piece. Hate to not use this. I don't like reducing the the air hose down so much, but I'll go with a 1-inch hose. That'll be a compromise. So we'll get an 1.25 to 1-inch barb fitting, 1-inch hose to a 3/4 inch NPT, and then we'll retain the check valve. Supposedly the Quincy compressors, the disc valves in the head seal well enough that you don't need a tank check valve, but belt and suspenders will not hurt. So let's see if we can get the camera down inside and take a look at the bottom of the tank. No features for it to focus on. There we go. A little bit of scale. Not too bad. We'll turn our attention to getting the draw bolt. My son did a really nice job welding on that. Don't tell him I said that, but he is a better welder than me. His YouTube channel is called The Facility, and he's got some pretty neat stuff. Check him out. I'm going to put a little bit of pure copper anti-seize on this so that this does not have a tendency to lock up on me ever. This was a galvanized all-thread rod, and they're not the smoothest. So it's in here like so. Now it's going to be a matter of getting this thread to start. I think we did. That bolt's longer, that's why it is bottoming on my motor bolt, on my motor mount. What I can do is use a reed washer. These are heavy machined washers, and that will prevent the end of the bolt from coming up through into the underside of my motor plate, because it was just sticking up just a little bit. I flipped the motor plate 180, shortened the front so that it wouldn't stick out too far. And we're going to fasten this to the slides, and then we'll get the pulley attached to the motor and get the faces of the pulley parallel with the flywheel. It's actually so much easier with the motor off. What I'd like to do is get this attached, and then there's an issue that I'm going to have to deal with. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you line up the pulleys, the belts, this flywheel is much thicker, so we need a spacer the same thickness as this offset to accurately align the two pulleys to one another. I'm going to eyeball that at 1/4 inch and get a piece of flat steel and see if that gets us close. Okay, I got a piece of 1/4 inch flat bar. That is just about perfect. We're going to mount the pulley on the motor, and we have about 3/4 inch to 1 inch behind the face of the pulley to the motor, which is pretty good clearance for the belt guard. The other thing I verified was that the direction of rotation of the Westinghouse air compressor that this was driving, the fan on the flywheel was in the same direction of rotation as the Quincy, so this motor should be turning in this direction, which is correct to drive the Quincy. So to tighten a QD bushing, you have to go around in a circle and tighten each bolt equally, round and round, until nothing moves. And as you tighten each one, the previous ones will loosen up because you're just drawing that taper in more each time. That's getting tight. All right, we're there. It's actually a fairly decent positioning of the motor on the plate. I have flathead screws that mount from the underside. I will have to countersink the backside of the wood adapter because the screw holes are going to be on top of the steel. Okay, so I can't get a clamp behind the pulley to clamp all this together. So what I've done is I've bumped the motor around until I can see no light underneath that spacer bar on either side. So right now I know the motor is perpendicular, or actually parallel. You know, the belt path on the sheave and this sheave are exactly parallel. And with the 1/4 inch spacer to make up for the difference in thickness here to the end of the motor sheave, I know my 3 belt paths are directly in line with the compressor. So at this point, I'm going to mark for my fasteners. Then we need to drill these holes for 3/8 screws and take it over to the other shop to countersink from the back side for the flathead so they sit flush.